Hello everyone, welcome to Options with Doug, streaming live daily on Bookmap Discord and the Bookmap YouTube channel at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Before I get started, I need to go through the disclosures. General disclosure: all Bookmap Ltd materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only, and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and options involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. And my apologies, everyone. My computer has been randomly restarting, and it restarted about 5 minutes before my presentation. So about 1:25, my computer restarted. I had to load up everything again, lost data in Bookmap. Bookmap takes some time to load all the data and get everything set up. So again, my apologies. It's about 1:45 p.m. now, so I'll go to 2:45 p.m. All right, so here's my contact information. The best way to get in touch with me is through Discord. My name on Discord is Doug P. Also in Bookmap Discord, the Options-Doug chat channel is a great place to post questions and content related to the topics of this channel that I'll go through in just a moment. And also I'm on X, formerly known as Twitter. My name there is @DougPless. The focus of my presentation today and the focus of the Options-Doug chat channel is options, order flow, the impact of options markets on stocks and futures, and the influence of market maker hedging flow on price action. I have a two-step process for trading, and the first is planning, and I use positional analysis. I look at how traders and market makers are positioned in the options market and how those positions change from day to day to develop a thesis regarding the expected trading range and volatility for the day, as well as the directional bias. And the second step in my process is execution. And I look at real-time order flow in Bookmap and real-time market maker hedging flow in Spotgamma Hero to confirm my thesis. And for setups, and when I talk about setups today, I will be talking about setups in an underlying asset. Those setups can be taken with futures, shares of stock, or options. So for example, the S&P 500 setups can be taken with ES futures, SPY shares, SPY options, SPX options, or even ES futures. Questions and comments are welcome. And I will be watching both the Options-Doug chat channel in Discord, as well as the chat and YouTube for your questions and comments. So please feel free to post, and I'll be do my best to answer your questions. And again, thank you very much for your understanding for my technical problem today. So I'll go a full hour from 1:45 to 2:45 today. So thanks again. My apologies. All right, my agenda for today. First of all, I want to go over news items, economic data, events for the week, for today and for the rest of the week. Then I'll go through my positional analysis. Then I'll review some setups from this morning, and then we'll take a look at the live market. And when I get to the live market, if anyone has any stocks they want me to take a look at, please let me know, and I'll be glad to do that. All right, let's get started. News items. Durable goods orders came out this morning. They were greater than expected, also greater than the previous report. So durable goods orders came out this morning better than expected. And then for the rest of the week, the GDP report comes out tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And then on Friday, the PCE data economic data, PCE data, comes out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. That is also the end of the quarter, end of the month, and the JP Morgan collar roll takes place. And right now, the JP Morgan put strike is at 42.10. That's definitely in play. We'll take a look at that. And also, consumer sentiment comes out on Friday at 10 a.m. All right, so that is the economic data for the week. Now let's get started with positional analysis. I'm going to start with the S&P 500. So this is ES Futures in Bookmap. And before I take a closer look at this chart, I want to take a look at a larger time frame. So this is the SPX in Thinkorswim and a 30-day 1-hour chart. And I have highlighted the August expiration and then the September monthly expiration, the September 15th expiration, call-dominated expiration, and the downtrend began then and still continues. And that was a call-dominated expiration. As those calls expired, the calls that were stabilizing and supporting the market expired, and now the market is moving lower, SPX moving lower, and the downtrend continues. All right, let me point out some levels on this chart. First of all, the dashed purple lines are showing the lower and upper weekly expected move. And it looks like SPX is trading just above the lower weekly expected move. And that is a 1 standard deviation move, so 68% of the time the SPX should trade within that range for the week. Then the dashed blue lines are showing the lower and upper daily expected move. And it looks like SPX is also trading right down to that lower daily expected move. Again, a 1 standard deviation, 68% of the time, SPX should remain within that range. There are also some Spotgamma levels on this chart. These are proprietary Spotgamma levels provided to Spotgamma subscribers, and they are gamma-weighted open interest. And let me point out the key daily levels. First of all, here's the put wall at 4,200 today. So that level did move lower. It seemed to have stabilized at 4,300 for the last few days. So now that level has moved lower. That is Spotgamma's put wall. The strike with the largest net negative gamma can be expected to act as support. So that is the potential floor. And that level did again move lower from yesterday, and that is bearish. All right, the next level up is the absolute gamma strike at 4,300. That's the strike with the largest absolute positive and negative gamma. That level also moved lower from 4,400 yesterday, so that's also bearish. Then just above that is the volatility trigger at 4,360. That is Spotgamma's proprietary gamma flip level. Below that level, market makers' position on the gamma curve is negative. In a negative gamma environment, market makers have to trade with price to hedge their delta exposure, and that tends to enhance or increase volatility, leading to larger range trading days and more trend days rather than range days. So SPX is trading well below its volatility trigger. And then finally, the call wall moved up to 4,600 from 4,500 yesterday, and that is well out of play. So not in range, not in play. All right, so the potential floor at 4,200, again that level moved lower, and potential ceiling at 4,600, with the most gamma concentrated at the 4,300 level. All right, so those are the levels, the range of levels for the S&P 500 SPX. Let's take a look at a shorter time frame. This is SPX for today in a 1-day, 1-minute chart. Here, this combo L3 level is the only gamma level in play for today. And then it looks like SPX traded right down to the lower daily expected move, shown with the dashed blue line, and found support there, at least temporarily. And notice this has been a very steady, orderly downtrend, just a grind lower today. After a gap up, then just a grind lower down to the lower daily expected move, just above the lower weekly expected move. All right, let's take a look at, go back to Bookmap. And before, well, let me focus on this chart, and then I want to take a look at the SPY chart. So there's some interesting information on the SPY chart. So first of all, I have my cloud notes up here in this column, and I'm showing SPY levels. So there's the SPY 428 level that did act as resistance before the market opened, and then again before the market opened, that SPY 428, that's a large gamma 2 level, acted as resistance. I'm also showing SPX levels on this chart, and there were a lot of support and resistance levels noted in Spotgamma at AM Founders Note, and I'm showing these levels on this chart. They were not in the SPX charts that we just looked at. So here is the 42.74 resistance level, and then this 42.65 support level. And note this white line just above that is the SPY 425 put wall that was supposed to act as resistance. That level did move lower from yesterday, and that did not act as support. And now it looks like so far the lowest level for SPX is the 42.39 level. That was also noted as support. And ES traded down below its lower daily expected move, and now looks like it's moving up. All right, so I have SPY levels on this chart, SPX levels, also the round number levels, the zeros and the 50s for ES. And note there is a difference in price between ES and SPX. And today it's 39 points. That's what I'm using. So ES minus SPX is 39 points. All right, so for example, this SPX 42.50 level, I'm showing that at ES 42.89. All right, so SPX levels, SPY levels, 428 resistance and support yet to be determined today. So far, the 42.39 level. Let's take a look at something else that's a little bit more clear on the SPY chart. The steady downtrend So I just have the round number levels on this chart. 428, price didn't quite make it up there just after 9 a.m. Eastern time. Moved lower. 427, pull back to 427, reverse lower. Pull back to 426, reverse lower. Pulled back to 425, that's the put wall, reverse lower. So there have been just a steady downtrend of pullbacks to the round number levels. Price did not quite make it back up to 425. Sliced right through 424 and also 423. Or let's go back to Bookmap. Alright, so those are the levels in play for today, primarily the SPY round number levels acting as resistance. Support for the day yet to be determined. I talked about shifts in levels for SPX. Put wall and absolute gamma strikes shifted lower. It's very bearish. Call wall shifted higher but not in play, so that I'm really not considering that. And then for SPY, the put wall shifted lower, that's bearish, and also the volatility trigger shifted lower. All right, let's take a look at NASDAQ. And this is NQ futures in Bookmap. And I'm going to take a look at a QQQ chart first to isolate the QQQ levels in play for today. So really only one gamma level here, this L3 level and the combo L3 level. That did act as resistance. All right, let's go take a look at NDX now. We'll take a look at an NDX chart for completeness. So NDX, there's that combo level. Then there's this 14,500 level. So two gamma levels in play for today. The combo level acted as resistance. All right, let's go to Bookmap. All right, so another steady grind lower. Testing various levels, point of control, VWAP. Point of control is the purple line, VWAP light blue line. Price just steadily trending lower, making a series of lower highs. And resistance at the 356 level, QQQ 356. And again, support yet to be determined. NQ trading looks like it traded down right to its week lower daily expected move. Just above the lower weekly expected move. Also the 14,800 level, that's NQ, 14,800 level, acting as resistance. All right, shifts in levels for the NASDAQ. The NDX volatility trigger shifted slightly lower. And for QQQ, the volatility trigger shifted lower as well, and also the absolute gamma strike from 360 to 350. All right, so those levels in play for NASDAQ and ES. Bearish shifts lower in the S&P 500 as well as QQQ. All right, let's take a look at gamma notional now to see how market makers were positioned on the gamma curve at the beginning of the day. So I'm looking at gamma notional for SPX, SPY, and QQQ. Really don't pay much attention to NDX. It's not significant compared to the others. All right, so these numbers are extremely negative. SPX, gamma notional, this is market maker's position on the gamma curve at the beginning of the day, minus 1.459 billion. For SPY, minus 2.90 billion. And for QQQ, minus 1.12 billion. Again, extremely negative. This is indicating that traders are long puts, market makers are short puts, and as price decreases, implied volatility increases, they have to sell futures, and that works the other way around. As price increases and implied volatility drops, they can buy back short futures. So let's take a look at the Vanna model, which illustrates this. I'm going to start with SPX. What this chart is showing is market maker's delta notional on the vertical axis and how that changes with changes in price shown on the horizontal axis. There are two curves on this chart. The light gray curve shows how market maker's delta notional changes with changes in price only. And then the purple curve adds implied volatility to the equation. That's showing how market maker's delta notional changes with changes in price and implied volatility. And that change in delta with a change in implied volatility is the Vanna effect. And Vanna is a second order Greek. All right, let's see where SPX is trading right now. So I have SPX right around 42, 46, 47. So that's right around here. So what this chart is showing, and by the way, this chart is typical of an extremely negative gamma environment. So the chart is showing if price increases and implied volatility drops, market makers can buy back their short futures. And that is a put Vanna rally. And I will be looking for that potentially on Friday, a put Vanna rally. On the other hand, if price decreases, market makers' delta notional will increase, and they want to remain delta neutral always, so they have to sell futures to hedge their delta exposure. All right, Derek, glad you made it. Welcome. I got a little bit of a late start today, so I'm still going through my positional analysis. All right, let's take a look. Again, this curve is very typical of an extremely negative gamma environment. Let's take a look at SPY. SPY right now is trading right around 423, down below the put wall. So that's right here, similar to SPX. If price continues to drop, implied volatility increases, market makers will need to sell futures. On the other hand, if price increases, market makers can buy back short futures. Then finally, let's take a look at QQQ. Trading right around 352. Again, on the very steep portion of the curve here. Negative gamma environment. All right, let's take a look at one other thing. This is the SPX gamma model. So when I talk about market makers' position on the gamma curve, this is what I'm talking about. And what this chart is showing is a very sharp turn in the gamma model. Looks like the bottom there is about 41.50. Just below the put wall, shown with the red line there. What this is indicating is market makers at that point should be fully hedged. So their contribution to any downtrend will be limited. So they're again will be fully hedged, not necessarily having to trade to sell futures as price continues to drop. So this is just a model, but it's a good indication of a potential floor for the SPX. All right, so that's just something to keep in mind. All right, let's take a look at some charts now. So first of all, my thesis for the day was, first of all, based on the very negative gamma position, looking for larger moves today, wider trending range, potential trend day, and then my directional bias for the day was definitely bearish, based on the shifts lower in the put walls for SPX and SPY, and also the shift lower and absolute gamma strike for SPX and QQQ. So bearish thesis for today. All right, let's take a look at some setups. I'm going to start with the S&P 500. This chart is showing the options trades. So it's showing options trades and market maker hedging activity. The chart is showing the white line for SPX, that's SPX price. The purple line is the hero signal, hedging impact, real-time options. This is showing a combined signal for SPX, SPY, XSP, and ES futures. So if you're trading any form of the S&P 500, this is the signal that you want to take a look at. So again, this is showing price for SPX and options trades for a combined signal SPX, SPY, XSP, and ES futures. All right, let's zoom in on this chart. This is the cash open at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And really after about 10:30, the hero signal has been trending down, traders taking negative delta positions. So net for the day, that is negative delta. Let's see what traders are doing. All right, so the rising orange line and the positive notional value on the right side here does indicate that traders are buying calls today. And that has been, so that's actually right around 2 billion. So they were more aggressively buying calls right at the open, and then that activity has somewhat leveled off until it's finally sloping down. So that call buying activity has slowly leveled off. On the other hand, they have been steadily buying puts all day. So again, they're buying calls. That's shown by the orange, rising orange line and the positive notional value. And they're also buying puts, shown by the falling blue line and the negative notional value there. And put buyers are more aggressive than call buyers. So net for the day, the notional value for the hero signal is negative. So net for the day, traders are taking negative delta positions. So that's the S&P 500. Let's go take a look at Bookmap. Let's go back to the S&P 500. All right, so as a consequence of my restart right before my session, I lost all MBO data. So that is the stops and the icebergs, market by order data. All of that is not, that MBO data is not saved. Bookmap does not save that data. So I had to, when I had to restart Bookmap, all that data was gone. So I don't have MBO data for the time before 1:30, right around 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So that will limit my ability to interpret order flow in Bookmap. So we'll kind of play it like Bruce today. He's the Director of Education at Bookmap, and he just focuses on primarily order flow, volume dots, liquidity in the order book. So as I talked about before, this has been a very steady downtrend. With just a series of pullbacks, primarily to the SPY round number levels, or around there. So we know that traders have been taking negative delta positions. They've been buying puts all day. So the idea was just to sell pullbacks. So the first one there, the VWAP, point of control, also round number levels, VWAP, that's shown by the blue line there, and then now price is trading down below VWAP. Pullbacks, somewhat of a shift to bearish order flow. You can see the shift, the green dots on the moves up, that's showing market buy minus sell, more buy orders than sell orders. And then as price starts to move lower, the aggressive sellers come in. That's shown by the magenta volume dots. So again, steady grind lower, clear pullback entries. All right, so that's the S&P 500. Let's take a look at NASDAQ. All right, so again, my MBO data started just after 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And before that, I do have cumulative volume delta, so that has been dropping lower for NASDAQ. For NASDAQ, same thing, pullbacks. Aggressive sellers start to come in, pull back to VWAP. This time price didn't make it to VWAP. Aggressive buyers on the way up, and the order flow shifts bearish. Order flow shifts bearish. Price moves lower. And again, it looks like finding support at the lower daily expected move. This appears to be a slightly higher low. Or let's see what options traders are doing. And slow to Zari, I'll get to Meta in a few minutes. Let me wrap up with the S&P 500 and NASDAQ here. All right, so what we can see with NASDAQ, with the startup of the MBO data again, is that some larger traders are coming in and buying with iceberg orders. That's shown by the rising light blue line there. So for example, that's 345 contracts, 3 different executions. Let's see what options traders are doing in NASDAQ. All right, so just like the S&P 500, this is a combined signal for NDX and QQQ. The most significant contribution is from QQQ, but their NDX does have some contribution to this. So we'll take a look at the total signal. All right, let's zoom in on this. So the first thing I want to focus on was a very clear, let's zoom in, very clear divergent short in the morning. So what this is showing is traders were taking negative delta positions from the open, and price moved up, and right around 940, that was the short, 945. So a divergent short in the morning. Let's go take a look at Bookmap. Let's zoom in. All right, so here at 9:45, it looks like NQ reverses lower. This was most likely a stop run up to 14,800. You can just tell by the steepness of that move, all the green dots, and then price moves lower as traders were taking negative delta positions. So traders taking negative delta positions. There was a stop run up to 800, and then aggressive sellers start to come in, move price lower. And you can see cumulative volume delta there, moving lower. That's shown by the dark blue line. So that was a very clear read, divergent short setup. Right around 9:45 a.m. Eastern Time. All right, let's take a look at some stocks. Actually, let's go back to Hero and see what options traders are doing now. So right around 10:10, they started taking positive delta positions, and that really did not have much impact on the market. They gave up about 12:30. So initially from the open, taking negative delta positions, then right around 10:10 to 12:30, attempted to move the market higher, gave up, started taking negative delta positions again. Let's just slice and dice this. So up until about 12:30, they were buying calls. Just a steady rise in the orange line indicating they were buying calls. And then that activity, they took their foot off the gas, stopped right around 12:30 again. And they've also been buying puts all day. Shown by the falling blue line, the negative notional value here. And net for the day, this is almost zero, minus 7.7 million. So put buyers just very slightly more aggressive than call buyers. Now it's the other way around, 2 million. So it's that really put buyers, call buyers pretty much evenly matched today in NASDAQ. Take a look at the S&P 500 again. So now it looks like options traders are starting to come in and buy the dip. We'll take a closer look at that in a few minutes. All right, so let's take a look at some stocks. All right, the first one I want to take a look at is AMD. So AMD, let's separate outputs and calls. So this morning, traders were buying calls in AMD, shown by the rising orange line, up until about 10:40, 10:45, and they take the foot off the gas, and price starts to drop lower again. So traders for the day are buying calls. They're also buying puts. Call buyers more aggressive, and drove the price up until about 10:30, 10:35. All right, let's go take a look at Bookmap. All right, so in AMD, here's the move higher. Let's zoom in on this. In the morning, Note the bullish order flow. A lot of green volume dots here, showing aggressive buyers. This is also a buy sweep. I thought I'd turn that off for most stocks. So anyway, traders buying calls, options traders, as well as aggressive buyers here in AMD in the morning, as shown by the rising cumulative volume delta. And price continues to rise until call buyers take their foot off the gas. Let's go back to Hero. All right, let's take a look at Meta. See what options traders are doing. Slodazari has been talking about a presentation, is that right? That started today, announcement, presentation. So we'll take a look at Meta. So yeah, it's some kind of event. Notice 300 is the key gamma strike. 297.50 the hedge wall. And it appears that the 300 level, the key gamma strike, did act as resistance. So price pretty much flat right at the 300 level until the event started. So it appears that the event probably started right around 1 p.m. Eastern time. Slodazari, maybe you can confirm that. Notice the flow alert here. This may be difficult to see. This is something new. It has been in beta and finally was released to Spotgamma subscribers on Monday. This is indicating unusual hero activity. And it looks like that would have been a good notice entry point for short. So let's see what traders are doing. All right, so up until about 1 p.m., options traders not doing much. Then they started buying puts, shown by the falling blue line, also selling calls. Let's go take a look at Bookmap. Go to Meta. All right, so it looks like if Slodazari says the event started about 1 hour ago, so that would be at 1:30. So it looks like the move lower started a little bit before that. Again, remember 300 is the key gamma strike, and apparently traders did not like what they heard. Notice all of the aggressive sellers coming in after about 11:30. Shown by the magenta volume dots, and then price drops sharply lower below the 299 level and makes a straight drop down to 290. So Slodazari, I hope you got some of that. Again, remember 300 key gamma strike did act as resistance. Options traders started taking negative delta positions, primarily selling calls, and aggressive sellers were in there from around 11:30 on, shown by the magenta volume dots. All right, let's take a look now at Microsoft. Go to Hero and see what options traders have been doing. All right, so it looks like for Meta, price is rising, but options traders are not taking this opportunity to buy the dip. So it looks like aggressive buyers in Meta. All right, let's take a look at Microsoft. All right, notice 310 is the put wall. The put wall. Well, let's zoom in. So this morning, Hero set up a divergent short. Notice traders are taking negative delta positions from the open. Price moves up, sets up this short right here. And it took a while, but down to not quite the 310 put wall. So that was the target, the 310 put wall for a short. Let's go take a look at Bookmap. So here's Microsoft. Let's zoom in on this. Actually, so price did finally make it to the 310 put wall. So here's the short setup. Short entry as traders were taking negative delta positions. So any time, so anywhere between 313.50 and 313 with a target of the 310 put wall. Notice the high liquidity at that level. The heat map is showing the history of the limit orders in the order book. So those are limit buy orders, and this high liquidity often acts as a magnet for price. So some traders came in and were able to front run that liquidity. So they get their buy orders in a few points above that level, but then price finally made it down to that level, and it took some aggressive sellers to get it down to that level, and now buyers have stepped in after a couple of tests of the 310 level. All right, the next I want to take a look at is Tesla. Nice steady downtrend in Tesla today. Let's check Hero, see what options traders were doing. Oops. Tesla. Very strong correlation between options trades, hedging flow, and price action in Tesla today. So right now, it looks like right around 130, traders started taking positive delta positions, and Tesla may be attempting to move higher. 245 is the hedge wall. It looks like that did act as resistance today. And then the put wall down and well down below at 230, potential target for a continued move lower. Let's go take a look at Bookmap. All right, very bearish order flow to start the day. A lot of aggressive sellers as well as options traders. Aggressive sellers and options traders taking negative delta positions, pullback entries. Down to the liquidity first at 240. Then at 235. Again, that high liquidity, especially for a higher price stock at the zeros and the fives, tends to act as a magnet for price. And again, remember 245 is the hedge wall here. All right, so good short setups in Microsoft, Tesla, and Meta today, and long setup in the morning in AMD based on call buyers. All right, let's take a look at go back to the S&P 500. So maybe finding support at that 42.39 level. Again, that level was noted as support in the AM Founders note, and some aggressive buyers definitely coming in. Let's check VIX and see what the VIX is doing. All right, so VIX is making a sharp drop lower. Looks like breaking that uptrend. Let's take a look at Hero and see what options traders are doing. So we'll get back to the S&P 500. Let's zoom in on this. All right, so nice divergence long here. Options traders start taking positive delta positions at that 42.39 level. And price responds higher. So overall for the day, there's been a very strong correlation between options trades, hedging flow, and price action. Let's go back to Bookmap. And definitely a lot of aggressive buyers coming in. There are sellers, magenta volume dots, exhaustion, and then aggressive buyers start to come in, shown by the shift from pink volume dots, magenta volume dots, exhaustion at that level, and then green volume dots, buy minus sell, market buyers coming in, moving price sharply higher, and this was partially driven by buy stop orders as well, shown by the rising yellow line as well as the small green dots here. Let's take a look at NASDAQ. Sharp move higher as well. So that's over 100 points higher in NASDAQ. I don't know, was there some news? Did anybody see any news? All right, so I talked about this before, the iceberg orders, large traders coming in with iceberg orders when I was talking about NASDAQ, the levels in play. So there's that 345 contracts, 3 executions. Also shown by the rising light blue line there. and a move from NQ 600 now heading up towards 750. If it can get past the 355 and 14,577 level. Let's see what options traders are doing. It's S&P 500. Traders taking positive delta positions. Really no tone shift for the NASDAQ. All right, Slodasari says maybe VIX dropping or some sort of government shutdown news. The news says U.S. Senate Majority Leader Schumer, the Senate will vote to keep the government open. All right, thank you very much, Slodasari. Thanks for the update. That could be it. All right, Caleb says short covering ran out of supply. Also Meta News. All right, so let's go back to Bookmap. So we know that, and this is pretty typical of any rally, that buy stop orders are going to fuel the move higher. And those are not significant numbers. Also, that activity has leveled off. Well, let's take a look at the S&P 500. So aggressive buyers definitely coming in. A lot of green volume dots, rising cumulative volume delta, also yellow lines showing buy stop orders. Again, that's very typical of any move higher, is buy stop orders help to fuel the move higher. Let's just see. So S&P 500 made it back to the 426 level, heading straight up, maybe toward the 427 level if it can get past 426. And one thing to keep in mind here is larger traders are fading this move with iceberg orders they use to hide their size, as shown by the falling light blue line. That's pretty typical. Large traders fade moves. So they'll fade a move higher by selling with iceberg orders, or fade a move lower by buying with iceberg orders. So that's 1,300 contracts, 5 executions, 350. This number is large, but not really that significant for the S&P 500. 350 contracts, but it looks like the volume dots are getting smaller. Well, now more stop orders. So traders had their stops placed just above the 426 level. That's 840 contracts. Let's go back to Hero and see what traders are doing. So NASDAQ, options traders are starting to fade the move now. Let's take a look at the S&P 500. So in the S&P 500, they continue to take positive delta positions. So if that continues, that should help to fuel a move higher. Let's just see if that helps. All right, so really starting right around 140, 145, they started buying calls and selling puts. So I've shifted to a 30-minute rolling window period. So I'm just looking at the last 30 minutes of data instead of the full day of data. All right, let's just change that back. So we can see, again, traders are buying calls and selling puts starting around 145. And so far it looks like that activity is continuing higher. And ES heading toward the SPY 427 level. All right, my time is up. I want to thank everyone for watching. Again, thank you for your understanding my technical difficulties. I have not been able to figure out this problem yet of these random restarts. Hopefully I'll get it solved soon. So anyway, thank you for your understanding. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your questions and comments today. Remember, GDP out tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And we'll talk about it tomorrow afternoon. So thanks again. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your questions and comments. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye.